Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Not our usual co-star. Johnny Bash is not here. This is probably confusing you, but today we have the beautiful Sarah Escalera.
Hello, everyone. We posted a reel last week about hiring the perfect contractor for your project and the top 5 things to look for.
Right.
And I think these are the 5 things that we really think are the most important to look for. Obviously, there's some other things, but number 1, licenses. You want a licensed contractor.
Right.
So there's a lot of different licenses. The obvious one is the C53 swimming pool license.
Right. Got to have that one. If you want to build a pool.
Definitely want that.
All right.
But what are the other ones that our potential clients or just homeowners in general should be looking for?
Most of the pool jobs these days, you need at least a C53 and a General B. Or at least a C53 and like a C27. Because technically, you're not even allowed to build the deck. Or like, especially patio covers or any of the other structures around the pool. And like, these days, everybody wants that stuff. It's the whole point is like the outdoor living environment, resort living outside. You really legally cannot build that stuff without a license. And a lot of contractors get around that by just building the pool shell, getting all that finaled by inspectors. And then once they get the final, then they build all the structures around it. But
then the insurance during the project isn't going to cover it if
exactly.
something goes wrong.
Yeah, because you go, oh, well, if they're capable of building the thing, why not let them do it? Yeah, listen, I don't want to stop anybody from making money. You know what I mean? Like, I got my start. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I didn't even have a license, some of the stuff I built in the beginning. If you're looking for a high-end project and you're going to spend a good chunk of money, for your high-end home, it's probably better for you and the contractors. You don't put them through hell to get somebody that's licensed to do everything. So make sure if you're going to get more than just the pool shell that you have somebody that's got a C27 and a General B, or at least a General B, so that they can build the structures around it. So,
but those 3 licenses, what were they again?
So C53 is the pool license, C27 landscape license, and then the General B, which is a general contractor's license.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Number 2, our favorite, great reviews. Those are really hard to get.
Here's the thing about reviews. It's easy for somebody to get their buddies and to help them get reviews and maybe get like 10 or 20 or 30 reviews or whatever. But it's really hard for a pool company to get, 100 reviews. The pool business is like, it's such a long stretch. It takes months and months and months, like, 3 or 4 months, 6 months to get a permit, and another, 4, 5, 6 months, even a year to do a project. $1 million job or $2 million job is going to take a year.
Well, and that brings me to another point. You want to watch out for accounts that might be for like a pool service company that just started building pools recently, because they might have 1,000 or more reviews because they're servicing pools every single day, but maybe they're only building a couple pools a year and that's not really their forte.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. It takes a long time for a pool company to get a review. It could take a year. So like, it's not like a restaurant where you're serving up hundreds of plates of meals a day, you're hundreds of clients a day that are potential reviews. Like, it literally could take a year to get a review.
Yeah,
so
which is why we also really, really work hard to take care of our clients, because we rely on good reviews.
It's really important to get the reviews for us. The reviews are like a scorecard. It's like, you're doing a good job, dude. People like what you do. People are appreciating the hard work that you put into these projects. So I'm really proud of Calimingo, where we are. I'm really proud. It was really, really hard. But anyway, so the point is, there's a difference between, that's a good point, between a pool builder and like a pool maintenance company. If you're going to want a custom pool and you want to spend $500,000 or $250,000 or whatever, like on a fancy pool with all the bells and whistles, to hire somebody that's got the experience, has been doing it a long time, has plenty of reviews.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're hiring somebody you like. You might be hanging out with them for a few months or maybe even a year, depending on the size of your project.
Yeah, and hire a pool builder to build a pool, not a pool maintenance company.
Exactly.
Those guys you'll see have a bunch of reviews, but then you go look at their pictures, you'll see they're all pool cleanings and look at the algae like that versus like, look at these awesome builds.
Okay, well, that leads me to the next point. You want to make sure you're hiring somebody who has a portfolio with lots of pictures of their work. So wherever you find those photos, Instagram, Yelp, TikTok, whatever.
Sure. On their website.
Yeah, on their website.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure that whatever style or level of excellence that you're looking for, you're going to find that in those photos. And it helps to, compare the photos and talk to the contractor, interview everybody, and make sure that those are also their own photos and they're not taking them from someone else. Photos and videos are a great way to get an idea of the quality. Now, you can even go a little further and see if you can get a job walk on one of their projects. But it's really good to make sure that they know.
That's a great idea. Good point.
But you just want to make sure that you're dealing with a real expert and not a pretender in the pool industry.
Right.
Very scary.
Yeah.
On to the next.
Yep.
Broken down bids. Why is this important? You don't want to see a line item for a big item like the pool. You want to see all the broken down details so you know exactly what you're getting. So that way, when you're halfway through the build, you're like, wait, what am I paying for? You can go back and make sure that everything is peachy keen. And also that, when you're getting estimates from other builders, you can compare it line by line and be like, okay, I think this is apples to apples, or whoa, what the heck? This company is giving me way more for this price. You can see like what's missing on the other estimate if you have a really broken down bid. That's what we do because we want to be fully transparent with our clients.
Back in the day, I remember people telling me like, oh yeah, when you're working on an estimate, just go vague. Don't worry about the details. You plug that in later. You could just upcharge them.
As a homeowner and as somebody who has not been in construction my entire life, you don't know what to look for sometimes. You think you saw everything on there and you're trusting this so-called expert, but if the bid's not broken down, what does it even mean? Right.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's why over time it's evolved. I didn't like that feeling of
having to ask for more money.
Yeah. And really most of the time what I would do, I just wound up screwing myself because I couldn't bring myself to like break their heart, especially me. I'm sitting there, my whole thing was design. I've been an artist my whole life. I was an artist long before I learned to make it into a business, So I make decisions with my heart. And this person's like really excited about what we've designed for them. I just couldn't bring myself in the middle of the project to go like, hey, we've got to like add X amount of dollars for a stainless steel heater because you want a saltwater system and I got to add money for that. And I couldn't bear to do it. So I would just keep them happy and screw myself out of money and, and so on. That's how it went down.
And to add to this, I was just thinking about how long it took us to build out our bidding system so that we could be so detailed.
Precise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a lot better because now the way it's been the last, 15 years or whatever is like, we're so detailed now. In some cases, the customers even get a little annoyed because they're like,
what does this mean?
I don't need all this information. Like, here's a pool and the pool's, 20 or more line items.
Yeah.
Because it's like
no,
literally.
We want you to know everything.
Yeah. Well, that's why we do estimate reveals where we actually go through with the client line by line and explain like, here's the price of the rebar, the price of the shotcrete, the price of the plaster, the price of excavation. The excavation for these different line items as they are pertaining, to the line item itself. If you were to ever customize something within the, while you're in production, in process, you can do that. And you're going to know exactly how much you paid for that tile that goes on the spa, for the rim flow raised bond beam spa.
Yeah.
You'll know, so you can change that tile and know exactly how much you're supposed to be credited back and how much it's going to cost you to add it. You know what I mean? So it makes it super easy for my staff to make corrections, and the clients, they appreciate that. Our bids are always typically going to look higher when they're getting estimates from different pool contractors before they make a decision. But I like to think that we do the best job of educating the client, and by the time we're through, the clients will understand the difference because they've been educated. So when they do get estimates from other companies, they're going to be like,
what is this?
Yeah, hold on a second. You're missing this and this and this and that.
They're going to go, wait, nobody does that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're the only company that I know of that does that because we see everybody's estimates, But the thing about that is, some people, no matter what, they're still just going to want the cheapest bid. That's just the way some people
That's
are.
also a scary story for another day.
That is another scary story for another day. But but anyway, so the point is, we like to be very transparent, open with our clients, all the line items with every detail of what's happening on the project, so they're very well educated about what they're getting before they go into construction. So we do the opposite. We tell them every possibility and then trim away what items they think they might not need, so that way they know exactly what they're getting when we go into production, because we're very transparent, and that's the way we do it. So
everyone sleeps at night with Calimingo, the homeowner and us. If you do wake up in the middle of the night, you can always go look at your detailed bid.
There you go.
Go back to sleep.
Go. All right.
To transition into the fifth key point of what to look for in a contractor for your backyard build project.
Yeah.
You don't want to be making huge payments.
The whole industry does this, except for us. Everybody, this is kind of a trade secret, actually. I'm kind of divulging. Here's what it is. These guys all take these huge draws. It typically works. It's 25%, 25%, 25%, and then 15%, and then 10%. That's for the most, that's 99.9% of the industry. That's what they do. The history of it is, back in the day, it used to be a pool, like back in the 50s. You know, there was not even a jacuzzi yet, a spa. It was a pool. These things were built quick, like a week or maybe 2 at the most if you were slow, right? They were shot out of gunite. I mean, you're talking about dig the pool in a day, rough plumbing in a couple hours, rebar in a couple hours, the same day, shotcrete in a few hours, then the coping and the tile like 2 days, and then the plaster would be done in 1 day and then filled with water. That same day, overnight, it would be filled with water. It happens so fast that the contractor needs to take these big draws so that they're not like, extending themselves, putting themselves out there for this whole pool before they collect any money. So it made perfect sense. If anything, you were being generous to only collect 25% of the time. So it was 25% at the hole, 25% at rebar, 25% at shotcrete, and then 10% or 15% at coping and tile, and then the last 10% was paid before your plaster went in. The morning the plaster showed up, you had to give the guy a check, and then he would go deposit it in the bank, and before your pool was filled with water. You know what I mean? That's how the pool industry was for a long, long time. Now, technically, all of these guys still bill that way. We don't like doing that. I don't like, here's the problem with it, okay? Now you've got projects that are, not just the pool. Now you got a spa and a waterfall and a weeping wall and a sunken pit. That's just the pool. Mm-hmm. Then you got an outdoor kitchen and an outdoor living room, fireplace, fire pits, retaining walls, and just all kinds of craziness. You could spend $250,000, $500,000, or even over $1 million, on a project.
Yeah.
And these guys are still, for the most part, taking 25% at the hole. We just don't do that. I just don't like borrowing money from my clients. So what we do is we do progress billing every week. So remember we talked about earlier the estimates, the bids that are very line itemed out, like price of the rebar, pump number 1, pump number 2, the water line tile, and so on and so forth. That same line item bid is mirrored in the progress bill. So the progress bill is kind of like the spreadsheet that has all the line items with no description. Now it's just the line item, so you can see what it is, missing the description. And then on the right, there is a percentage point. So that's just the project managers fill that out every week, and they go, we did this percentage of this. Until you get to the bottom, you get the total, and that's your bill that week. And we bill weekly after we've done the work. So you literally are paying for like the work that just got done.
So our goal is to make sure that the client is never out of pocket a bunch of money, and that we're never out of pocket a bunch of money.
Because of the way we operate, we're always floating. We're a bank. Mm-hmm. Like we're always floating all the jobs. So there's millions always floating around, because by the time the customers pay us, most customers pay us over the weekend. We're already on to the next bill. Even though we're not taking these big draws, it's more work to do it that way. But here's what happens psychologically. The client saw the bid, very transparent. It's why they hired you, because they could trust us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They saw everything there. Then every week they see progress. They haven't given you any money yet. And then they see a progress bill with the same familiar line items that they saw in the bid that made them trust you before. Mm-hmm. And now they see the number at the bottom. So they may the first time peruse it, like look it over and make sure that it makes sense. Okay, everything's there. You know, they might look at that 1 week or 2 weeks in a row, a couple weeks in a row.
But then they build up this peace of mind.
But then once they see this repetitive thing every week, and they can always, just like clockwork, it's just always perfect, always precisely what's been done. They just, it's this trust that's built up. They know that Calimingo has their back. They know that they're going to do the right thing. So they just hit the button, and it's one button to pay their bill.
It's super easy, yeah.
They get an invoice in their email. They open the email. There's a big green button, and they just click the button. They enter their information once, their banking information, and then it's an ACH that comes out of the bank account. They just hit the button. It gets paid. Done.
And the cool thing about this is that, you know, I was talking about sleeping at night, and everybody sleeps at night with Calimingo. Well, you're able to see weekly what's been done in your yard. I think when there's construction going on at your house, sometimes it's overwhelming, and you're like, oh God, I hope they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But you're basically getting a report with the payment button every week. So you're getting this little update. You can kind of look in your yard and make sure everything's going as planned, and it just feels good. You feel safe, like things are going the way they're supposed to be going. So I love this structure. I think it's awesome. As somebody that's not a full-on expert in construction, I would be so stoked if this was.
Yeah, it's ideal for people who have no construction experience because we're educating the client. And you know, honestly, like every step of every department in the company is trained to educate the clients. We are technically like we're running like a school. We educate the client about every step of the way because we want them to know exactly what's happening so that they can trust us and it can be like a happy experience because we want to have fun doing it too. So
exactly.
So anyway, great job, everybody. The beautiful Sarah Escalera. That was it, right?
Yeah, I was beautiful just gonna kind of close off the episode real quick. Do a little roundup. So the 5 key points. Remember, licenses, great reviews,
right?
Lots of photos, and maybe videos too. Those are always fun. Broken down bids, and last but not least, don't be making huge payments. That can get scary.
Make progress payments.
Yeah, progress payments.
Great job. Great job, Holly. Everybody.
Great job.
Stay tuned for more from the beautiful Sarah Escalera. We'll see you on the next reel.